This is the final footage of Anna Derdwayak before her ex-boyfriend Dennis Akpomadaye committed a horrifying act of murder right in front of her new boyfriend. The incident is deeply disturbing, made worse by the premeditated and brutal nature of the crime. Anna had moved away to escape her stalker ex-boyfriend, hoping to find safety and peace. However, Dennis, who lived in Newport, South Wales, traveled a considerable distance of 140 miles to perpetrate this heinous act. Upon catching up to Anna and her new love interest, her co-worker, Jack Misquell, Dennis, wearing a hoodie and balaclava mask, waited for the opportune moment to strike. He mercilessly stabbed Anna approximately 40 times before attempting to decapitate her with a saw. Known as Anya to her friends, Anna was a hard-working woman who had just finished her shift at the restaurant where she worked before the tragedy unfolded. The ruthless nature of the attack and its premeditated nature sent shockwaves throughout the community. Dennis, in an attempt to evade justice, concocted a bizarre cover story claiming to be a sword performer and suggesting that his act had gone horribly wrong. However, the evidence pointed overwhelmingly to his guilt, leading to his life imprisonment for the unspeakable crime he committed. At the tender age of 14, Claire Miller committed an appalling crime that left everyone questioning the reasons behind her actions. What could drive a young girl to take the life of her own sibling? Claire, born in 2007 in Pennsylvania, grew up with the love of both parents, Mark and Mary Miller. However, it was her older sister, Helen Miller, who required more attention due to her cerebral palsy and lifelong confinement to a wheelchair. Claire, being the caring sister she was, often assisted in her siblings' care when not occupied with her TikTok page, where she shared innocent videos featuring her favorite anime characters. Yet, beneath the surface of those seemingly harmless anime videos, one could detect subtle references to violent anime characters and video games. One particular video, showing a blood-stained latex glove and a stuffed giraffe, raised many concerns and disturbed viewers. While some speculated it was posted after the tragic event, it is believed to have been uploaded before that fateful night. The dreadful incident occurred on Sunday evening under mysterious circumstances. It remains unclear whether the murder was planned, and the extent of Claire's premeditation is uncertain. Around 1 a.m., most of the Miller family was asleep, including their parents, Mark and Mary. Claire silently entered her sister's room wielding a kitchen knife and inflicted multiple stab wounds on Helen's neck. After the gruesome act, she placed a pillow under her sister's head and then promptly called the police. Claire's parents remained unaware of the horrifying event until law enforcement officers rushed into their home. Claire, standing outside, had traces of Helen's blood on her hands and clothes. The snow nearby was also stained with blood, indicating an attempt to wipe her hands on the ground. Despite the authorities' efforts to resuscitate her, Helen was pronounced dead at 4 a.m. Subsequently, Claire was arrested and faced murder charges in court. The tragic incident left the community searching for answers and grappling with the heart-wrenching loss of a young life. When Rani Maudua entered into marriage with Janbaz Tarin, she never foresaw the tragic fate that awaited her, but there were warning signs. Janbaz once uttered, "In our culture, we don't have divorce. The day you leave, I'll kill you." Though Ranim didn't initially plan to leave, she stumbled upon a tangled web of lies masterfully spun by Janbaz, leaving her with no other choice. Unbeknownst to her, the man she married had a pre-existing wife and 3 children back in Afghanistan, a fact cleverly concealed from her. Even more shocking, his wife in Afghanistan was expecting their 4th child when Ranim unearthed the truth. On the fateful day of Ranim's and her mother's tragic end, they innocently ventured to a local shisha bar, hoping to enjoy a pleasant evening. However, Janbaz abruptly appeared, confronting Ranim unexpectedly. The footage captured from that night reveals the pretty young lady Ranim standing before Janbaz. A heated argument ensued, leading to a horrifying conclusion. Janbaz was later apprehended by the police and subsequently sentenced to 32 years in prison for his dreadful actions. Claudia Lawrence, a 35-year-old chef employed at Goodrick College in the United Kingdom, had her life take a tragic turn in March of 2009. That day, she was chatting happily with her mother on the phone while walking from work. They were making plans to celebrate Mothering Sunday together, but little did they know it would be their last conversation. After ending the call, Claudia vanished, leaving no trace of her whereabouts. Her absence from work the following day raised concerns, leading her colleagues to report her missing to the authorities. Her father, worried after receiving a call from one of Claudia's friends, visited her home and found her belongings missing. The police discovered surveillance footage of Claudia leaving the university, indicating that whatever happened to her occurred during the 2-mile walk back home. As the investigation delved into Claudia's personal life, they uncovered numerous secrets she kept hidden. She had been involved in multiple affairs with married men, which garnered her quite a bit of resentment from the local population. Despite the passage of nearly a decade, men were still questioned about her disappearance. In 2016, 4 men in their 50s were arrested and interrogated, but they were released without charges. The case had been extensive, costing close to 800,000 British pounds. Despite a lack of physical evidence, authorities believe Claudia's disappearance is a murder case. A significant piece of evidence is surveillance footage capturing a man lingering near the area where Claudia was last seen. The man was spotted both before and after her disappearance, raising suspicion. There is also footage of a man resembling the same individual heading toward Claudia's home and later walking away with what appears to be her work bag. The police find this behavior highly suspicious. Authorities are left wondering what happened to Claudia as she made her way home that day. Was an ex-lover filled with rage seeking revenge? The details of her alleged romantic affairs and the subsequent breakups point to potential motives. But without a body, the truth remains elusive. Claudia's mother refuses to believe that her daughter is dead and believes she might be held captive somewhere. She casts doubt on the police's theory of an ex-lover's involvement. The question still looms, dead or alive, where is Claudia Lawrence's body? The search for answers and closure continues as the mystery remains unsolved. Sabina Nessa, a young and promising 28-year-old teacher, had her entire future ahead of her. Tragically, her life was cut short on September 17th of 2021 when she encountered an unknown man who proved to be a cold-blooded killer. It is unsettling to consider this as a crime of opportunity, as the murderer, Koshi Salamaj, had premeditated the act. A week before the incident, Salamaj had booked a room at the Grand Hotel in Eastbourne. Surveillance footage captures him checking into the hotel and then going to a supermarket to buy a rolling pin, presumably intended as a murder weapon. He later returned to the hotel. The most alarming aspect is how ordinary Salamaj appears, making it difficult to suspect him of such heinous acts. However, the prosecution argues that he had been lying in wait at Qatar Park, where he ambushes Sabina Nessa, brutally striking her 34 times with an emergency traffic triangle he likely retrieved from his car instead of using the purchased rolling pin. He then carries her into the woods, where he ultimately strangled her to ensure she was dead. It seems that Sabina Nessa was an unfortunate victim of Koshi's meticulously pre-planned murder, as they had no prior connection or involvement. In the event of an on-fire plane or witnessing a plane suddenly catching fire, my response would be a mixture of shock, fear, and concern for the safety of everybody on board. Such a situation is undoubtedly terrifying, and the well-being of passengers and crew would be top priority. Experiencing a plane catching fire during takeoff would indeed be an absolute nightmare for travelers. The anticipation and excitement of the flight would be replaced by panic and uncertainty. The need for an emergency stop and immediate evacuation would intensify the sense of urgency and stress among passengers and crew members. In these moments of crisis, it's essential for everyone involved to follow safety protocols and the instructions of the flight crew. Remaining as calm as possible would be crucial for ensuring a swift and orderly evacuation. Even under extremely distressing circumstances, everyone to safety as quickly as possible. No one would ever wish for such a harrowing experience, but it is a reminder of the importance of safety measures in aviation and the professionalism of flight crews in handling emergencies. The priority would be to ensure the well-being of all passengers and crew members, and measures would be taken to prevent such incidents from escalating further. In the past, Susanna Piley and David Gilroy engaged in a secret affair, despite Gilroy being a married man with children at the time. Unaware of how their relationship would unfold, Susanne contemplated ending it, which led to a heated argument. The last known sighting of her was captured on public transport CCTV cameras as she disembarked from a bus at 8:49 a.m. Several other cameras also recorded her walking the remainder of her journey to work. However, there were no cameras at the precise location where she supposedly vanished. Although an extensive search was conducted, no trace of Suzanne's body was found.
For the officers involved and those who knew and loved Suzanne, the case is far from closed.
Interestingly, 84 cameras captured unique perspectives of her final moments, providing some insight into her movements before her disappearance. Some CCTV cameras were positioned outside of Piley's workplace, but they failed to capture any footage of Gilroy entering or leaving the basement garage. Despite Gilroy's efforts to conceal his actions, another camera managed to catch him, ultimately leading the police to uncover the brutal murder. This case differed from typical investigations as it appeared to be a crime of passion rather than the work of a serial killer. The meticulous disposal of the body has baffled investigators, and even after 11 years, no remains have ever been discovered, leaving many unanswered questions surrounding the fate of Susanna Piley. Zara Alina, a 35-year-old recent law graduate, had just begun her career at the Royal Courts of Justice, finding her footing in life. However, everything changed on the night of June 26, 2022, as she was returning from a night out on bar on Ilford High Street. On the same evening, a notorious criminal, Jordan McSweeney, with 28 convictions and 69 offenses, had been thrown out of another bar for harassing the staff. Just days before, he had been released from prison on probation. Despite attempts to bring him back to jail for missing probation appointments, he was still on the streets, and that night he targeted several women who rejected his advances. Unfortunately, Zara crossed paths with him. McSweeney violently attacked her, dragging her into a driveway where he brutally kicked, stamped, and sexually assaulted her. Later that night, Zara was discovered with severe injuries, but tragically, she succumbed to them at the hospital. The court recognized McSweeney as the quintessential criminal, deeply disturbed and a clear example of someone who should have never been let out of prison in the first place. He was sentenced to 38 years in jail for this heinous crime. The brutal killing of Kini Christel Kisango Mabiala, a renowned YouTube music star, is utterly shocking. There was no apparent connection between him and the assailant, Mazin Abdulmomanin, who callously attacked Kini while he was simply engaged in a phone conversation. The incident occurred as Mazin and his friend Paris were waiting at a bus stop in Nottingham after a shopping trip. The motive behind the attack remains unclear, as it seemed to happen without any rhyme or reason. Mazin abruptly stabbed Kini in the chest, causing his tragic death. Shortly afterward, Mazin was apprehended on a bus while attempting to flee the scene. At just 19 years old, he has been convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment, with a minimum jail term of 20 years. The loss of Kini's life is a devastating blow to the music community and all those who admired him. Regrettably, all the warning signs were sometimes evident, but people appear to overlook them. Stephen Griffith, a disturbed individual, harbored aspirations of becoming a notorious serial killer.
And he called himself in court the crossbow cannibal. Stephen Griffiths pled guilty to 3 murders within a year.
In 2009, a series of murders in the Bradford area were later linked to his dark fantasies. Despite seeking attention through assaults and facing multiple releases from jail, Griffith escalated to targeting sex workers using crossbows to kill them. He utilized public transport to move the bodies and discarded them in bin bags elsewhere. In a chilling piece of footage that ultimately led to his arrest, Griffith was caught on camera defiantly flipping off the lens. It seemed as though he showed no concern about being caught, fully aware that his horrifying acts had been captured on film. In the moments leading up to his demise, Anwar Todiaki believed he could outrun his assailants. During such critical instances, life tends to flash before one's eyes, and the only concern becomes survival. On August 9th of 2017, this very scenario unfolded as Anwar was en route to his home in Roxbow Park, where he resided with his parents. The individuals pursuing him in the video are suspected to have connections with an incarcerated drug dealer, who allegedly ordered Anwar's murder from behind prison walls. As they gave chase, Anwar desperately attempted to elude them, but tragically he was unsuccessful. The video captured the heart-stopping moment where he sprinted past the screen, visibly terrified. Mere moments later, near his home, they caught up with him and fatally shot him. Regrettably, that fleeting glimpse of terror was the last time anyone saw Anwar alive. Upon initial observation, this footage portrays a seemingly innocent and joyful scene as a mother and son embark on a hotel resort trip. Amy Fry Pitson and her son Timothy enjoy a 3-day road trip filled with exciting visits to zoos, water parks, and other bonding activities. The mother surprises Timothy by taking him out of school early, creating a heartwarming adventure. However, behind this facade of happiness lies a grim reality. Unbeknownst to those watching the security footage, Amy had kidnapped her own child and was heading towards a tragic end. The footage captures her last moments, leaving a grocery store in Illinois before her death. Her lifeless body would later be discovered in a hotel room with evident self-inflicted injuries on her wrists and neck, and a suicide note nearby. The letter explains that Timothy was safe with people who loved him. It ominously states that he would never be found, directly challenging his father. Despite recovering Amy's body, law enforcement remains uncertain about Timothy's fate, adding a haunting quality to the video. In the footage, Timothy innocently engages with hotel staff, showing what appears to be a toy, completely oblivious to the horror awaiting him at the end of the trip with his mother. These may be the last recorded moments of his happiness, and the question of whether he is still alive lingers. Amy's chilling words echo, claiming that Timothy will never be found, and indeed, their whereabouts remain a mystery to this day. In September 2013, Tiffany Whedon was apprehended for shoplifting at Walmart. The store security recorded the entire incident as she was escorted outside of the premises. Unfortunately, this marked the last known sighting of her. Tiffany had been struggling with drug abuse, which contributed to her mother's initial lack of concern when she lost contact with her 26-year-old daughter. It wasn't until January of 2014, 4 months later, that her mother finally reported her missing. The police conducted an investigation and questioned Tiffany's boyfriend, who was the last person seen with her. However, he maintains to this day that he has no knowledge of what happened to her due to the significant delay in reporting her disappearance. Regrettably, by the time the authorities were involved, any potential evidence that could have aided in finding Tiffany had vanished. This footage is undeniably disturbing to watch and easily overlooked if one is unaware of its context. From the clip, we can discern that a man on a stretcher is lying motionless while medical personnel surround him, engaged in a fierce battle to save his life. What makes this clip astonishing is the surreal moment when it appears as if his soul momentarily departs from his body. An otherworldly form materializes briefly while his heart rate appears to flatline. Suddenly, people rush back in, attempting to revive him with chest compressions, fighting against the brink of death. This intense effort continues for several minutes, as if they have encountered something beyond our plane of existence, all captured on a grainy hospital CCTV of all things. In this video clip, we witness Stephen Port, known as the Grinder Killer, making his way to meet a man who allegedly would become his fourth victim. The encounter appears to be quite casual, with the victim Jack Taylor inviting Stephen into his home. However, we observe from door footage that he departs shortly after. Stephen Port's case deeply haunted investigators, as it became evident that he could have eluded capture. He utilized fatal doses of GHB to murder his victims between 2014 and 2015, disposing of their bodies near his residence. Fortunately, the doorbell camera eventually captured the man responsible after 4 victims, leading to the discovery of the bodies and Stephen Port's subsequent arrest. Regrettably, it appears that the police overlooked vital information from family and friends, allowing his killing spree to persist. The United States was shaken by a case that revolved around the tragic fate of Gabby Petito, a young girl whose life was cut short by her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie. Disturbing footage has come to light, offering insight into the couple's tumultuous relationship. Prior to the tragic events, they had purchased a van and embarked on a journey together, visiting various national parks. The video capturing the couple's encounter was recorded by an officer's body camera, following a distress call from Gabby while they were in Moab, Utah. In the footage, Gabby appears visibly upset, crying and trembling as she recounts the altercation she had with her boyfriend.
You want to know the truth if he actually hit you? Because, you know...
I guess, yeah, but I hit him first.
Where did he hit you? Don't worry, just be
well,
honest.
He, grabbed my face. Like,
Slap your face or what?
Well, he, grabbed me, with his nail, and I guess that's why it looks... I definitely have a cut right here, because I can feel it.
Yeah.
When I touch it, it burns.
She admitted to initiating physical contact by hitting him first, but then he retaliated by grabbing her face and digging his nails into her cheeks.
Well, to be honest, I definitely hit him first.
Where'd you hit him?
I slapped him.
You slapped him first? And then just on his face?
You got to kind of just shut up.
The situation was undoubtedly unsettling to witness. Regrettably, the officers who responded to the call chose to let the couple go after speaking with them, dismissing the incident as merely a minor altercation between 2 engaged individuals who loved each other.
In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive does what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés who love each other, want to be together, can I perceive that this is going to digress into a situation where he's going to be a battered man? Right. But then again, I don't have a crystal ball.
Tragically, shortly after this incident, Gabby was reported missing, and Brian was nowhere to be found. Eventually, police discovered Gabby's lifeless body near Grand Teton National Park, making it evident that she had been the victim of a heinous crime. Brian Laundrie managed to evade capture for several weeks until he took his own life in October 2021.
Investigators have not named laundry as a suspect in Petito's death. As for the city of Moab, they say they have no comment right now on this additional video, guys, or on the status of their investigation into that incident. As for the police department there in Utah, they did not respond to NBC News' request for comment.
The case garnered widespread attention and exposed the complexities and challenges faced by law enforcement in dealing with domestic violence incidents. It serves as a haunting reminder of the need for greater vigilance and awareness to protect those in vulnerable situations. Zachary Latham, like many other teenagers, believed that a single video could make him famous. His breakthrough came in April 2020 when he recorded his neighbor, Catherine Durham, near their home in Vinland, New Jersey. Mr. Durham was unhappy with Zachary's driving, and though they tried to warn him, Zachary captured the encounter on video and referred Mrs. Durham as Karen.
What are you gonna do, Karen?
That's not my name, so get my name straight.
You okay, Karen?
This video quickly gained popularity, amassing around 3 million views and attracting over 40,000 new followers to Zachary's TikTok page. Instead of fading away, the situation escalated as Zachary continued to record and share confrontations with his neighbors. In one of the videos, he brandished a gun, making the situation even more concerning. The series of videos showcased the deep discord between the parties involved and led to a tragic event on May 4th, 2020. On that day, 17-year-old Gage Durham was riding his bike out of his driveway when Zachary drove up behind him. According to the Durhams, Zachary swerved his vehicle towards Gage, who jumped off his bike and onto the curb for safety. In response to this incident, the Durham family decided to confront Zachary. Gage's father, William Durham Sr., arrived in his pickup truck, and together they went to Zachary's driveway. Zachary, accompanied by a few friends, stood his ground with a stun gun and a knife. As the confrontation escalated, William Durham Sr. was stabbed twice, once in the back and once under his arm, and tragically passed away later in the hospital. Zachary Latham was charged with murder, but pleaded not guilty, arguing that he acted in self-defense to protect himself and his friends, fearing for their safety.
Not guilty.
The jury found him not guilty, leading to his acquittal. On the other hand, the Durhams were found guilty of trespassing and assault. This series of events highlights the serious consequences that can arise from escalating conflicts and confrontations, especially when weapons are involved. It serves as a tragic reminder of the importance of de-escalating tense situations and seeking peaceful resolutions. Lars Matank, a 28-year-old German tourist, embarked on a vacation to Bulgaria with his friends in 2014. Their destination, the Golden Sands, was renowned for its affordable party scene in Europe. However, their trip took an unexpected turn when Matank got entangled in a violent brawl over a sports team debate during their one-week stay. Suffering severe injuries from the altercation, including a suspected ruptured eardrum, doctors advised them against immediate air travel due to the potential complications from air pressure changes. Consequently, he had to wait in Bulgaria for his ear to heal. During this time, Matank made a distressing call to his mother back in Germany, claiming that he was being stalked and felt perpetually unsafe. Seeking medical clearance to fly back home, he visited the on-site clinic at the airport. While the doctor initially perceived him as calm, Matank abruptly panicked and bolted from the airport when someone entered the clinic. Startling surveillance footage revealed him leaving behind his belongings, sprinting away from the building at top speed. The mystery surrounding Matank's sudden fear and paranoia raises questions about whether he was genuinely being followed or experienced a paranoid delusion. Some speculate that strong antibiotics prescribed for his ruptured eardrum may have induced hallucinations, leading him to believe he was being pursued. Others suggest that his attackers from the Golden Sands may have been seeking a final confrontation. Despite considerable interest in the case, Lars Matank remains elusive and has not come forward to shed light on the incident, leaving the events of over 5 years ago shrouded in uncertainty. If he is still alive, his whereabouts and the true explanation behind his actions remain undisclosed. 17-year-old Jordan Turpin made a distressing 911 call explaining that she had managed to escape from her abusive parents and desperately needed help to rescue her siblings.
I just ran away from home because I live in a family of 15. We have abusing parents. Did you hear that?
The police promptly arrived at a location near her home to meet her. Despite her age, Jordan appeared much younger due to severe malnutrition, and her speech was limited and broken, as she had rarely interacted with people outside her family before.
I've never talked to anybody out there, so I've never been alone with a person, so it's very hard for me to talk.
In her conversation with the officers, Jordan revealed that she had never encountered medication before, indicating her lack of exposure to the outside world and limited education.
Do you take any medication?
What's medication?
Medication?
Yeah, what's medication?
Do you take pills?
Her fear of speaking to strangers was palpable. As the situation unfolded, it was revealed that Jordan was one of 12 siblings who were all being held captive by their parents, Louise and David Turpin.
Parents are abusing. They abuse us.
Disturbingly, they were found chained up in a similar state of malnourishment and terror. The siblings' age ranged from 2 to 29 years old, highlighting the extensive duration of their suffering. Jordan's courageous escape not only saved her own life, but also rescued her siblings from their unimaginable life of torture. Her parents, Louise and David Turpin, were subsequently sentenced to life in prison for their heinous crimes. While this footage might not have been captured on CCTV, it comes close enough as it shows body cam footage capturing the moments when police enter the confessed killer's residence.
So, sir, you're Robert? Okay.
The police are there to search for the man's girlfriend, who appears to be missing, and the man is not initially detained.
Well, that's the reason that we're here. I think we're here. Is the family's calling us, saying we haven't heard from our daughter and our sister.
As a few police officers walk upstairs to search the house, the man sitting on the couch appears confused.
Not that you're aware of, like, you're not making a whole lot of sense to me, here, guy.
Like, I don't know what, sorry, I'm still getting my bearings.
He claims that he had a fight with his girlfriend a few weeks ago and he hasn't heard from her since.
I don't know, like 3 weeks ago, we got into a tizzy. She threw a bunch of my stuff out, food, stuff like that.
However, none of the officers seem to believe his story, which later proves to be accurate as he confesses to the murder. At the moment of the footage, he seems to be making up stories on the spot. Unfortunately, the clip does not show the point of his arrest, as the footage cuts out when other officers come back downstairs, and the one filming leaves to make a call.
I'm gonna go make a call to mom.
Nevertheless, this footage was used as evidence in the trial to demonstrate that his response was inconsistent with that of a concerned boyfriend. There is an abundance of eerie footage from the old Soviet era, but this particular clip stands out remarkably. It resembles scenes reminiscent of the infamous Russian sleep experiment, depicting an emaciated man sitting on a bed. The video is interspersed with frantic jumps and cuts showing him engaging in bizarre and unsettling behavior, such as shaking things, rocking back and forth, and more. The visuals seem to have suffered corruption over time, leaving viewers perplexed by the unexplainable occurrences. Suddenly, the focus shifts to the man's face, revealing a disturbingly inhuman appearance, before the screen turns white momentarily. In the next frame, the man appears to be floating mid-air, as if suspended by an unknown force, and the clip abruptly ends. Killers are inherently detached from the gravity of their actions, often unaware of the profound consequences of taking someone's life or even recognizing the moral wrongness of their deeds. In the video clips, Neil Maxwell and Luke Pearson nonchalantly discuss the murder they committed against Lee Cooper, seemingly treating it as a mere task they had to accomplish.
The lad who's in hospital, he's just assaulted someone.
In the second clip, Maxwell appears more animated and eager to discuss the incident, expressing a sense of pride in his actions at certain moments as he vividly explains what he did. The video showcases a woman in a state of intense fear and distress while her voice trembling and frantic.
I'm in the way home.
As the call ends, the background noise suggests the phone might have been taken from her, and we can hear her yelling at someone to let her go. Her voice vividly portrays the pain and fear she is experiencing. The gravity of her situation becomes apparent as a kidnapper demands her car and money. While she tries to fend off her attackers, 911 operators remain on the line, seeking information about the car's direction.
Which direction are you going?
Thankfully, she manages to escape her captors, and the police have subsequently made at least one arrest. The chilling nature of the woman's predicament can be deeply felt through the video. Small neighborhoods often have a reputation for keeping things hush-hush, but Hal Jr. and Rosita Donaldson couldn't conceal the truth, no matter how hard they tried.
I mean, shock. shock and fear for the community.
Despite their reluctance to cooperate with the police, they couldn't escape the damning evidence. Video footage surfaced linking their son, Howell Emmanuel Donaldson III, directly to a series of violent crimes.
Dalton is the fourth victim in a series of shootings dating back to October 9th, but his death has also yielded a potential break in the case.
Initially, when colleagues saw the grainy and indecipherable CCTV footage resembling him, they joked about it. Little did they know that the footage showed a man walking just before the murder of Ronald Felton, a 60-year-old unemployed construction worker volunteering at a food bank. This incident marked the fourth killing in a string of violent acts. Hal was eventually arrested after he discreetly handed a pistol hidden in a bag to his manager at the McDonald's where he worked, along with his uniform while collecting his paycheck. He even advised her to bury the bag so deeply that no one would ever find it. However, his manager sensed something was amiss, and instead of being dissuaded, she alerted the authorities. The truth about the resemblance between Hal and the suspect on television, which his coworkers had jokingly called him Killer, finally became apparent. Fortunately for the prosecutors, the evidence provided by Donaldson himself allowed them to apprehend him, leading to the potential resolution of 4 murders that occurred between October and mid-November. Without his own actions, they might never have caught the culprit in the first place. In 2013, Derek Estelle, aged 34 at the time, was arrested after stealing a car and leading police on a chase. The pursuit concluded in a standoff with the SWAT team and the use of tear gas. Prior to his arrest, Estelle had been involved in a bank robbery a week earlier. He faced a total of 26 charges, including aggravated robbery, burglary, theft, breaking and entering, and fleeing. In the following months, Estelle, assisted by his mother, girlfriend, and her stepfather, devised a plan for his escape. On July 28th of 2013, after a court appearance, he was transferred to the Garland County Jail. Security camera footage captured Estelle using the inmate's phone to talk to his mother. Suddenly, he dropped the phone and swiftly leapt through the open reception window of the jail, making a run for the front door.
Anybody that would make 40 phone calls, then jump through a window, I mean, it's almost like getting the sheriff involved and, hey, I'm going to escape tomorrow. My mom will be outside a couple blocks away. Just give me a head start. I mean, it's almost that silly.
After his daring escape from the Garland County Jail, Estelle managed to get into a waiting car and quickly fled the scene. It was later discovered that his girlfriend, Tamara Upshaw, was the driver of the getaway vehicle. Investigators determined that Upshaw's stepfather, William Harding, had deliberately diverted the deputy's attention to the other side of the booking room, creating an ideal opportunity for Estelle to escape. As the investigation progressed, Estelle's mother was also arrested for her involvement in the escape plot, based on evidence gathered from their recorded phone conversation. Less than a month after his escape, Estelle and his girlfriend were located and apprehended at a residence in Arkansas. In 2015, Estelle pleaded guilty to the charges against him, including escape, and was sentenced to 32 years in prison. His girlfriend, Tamara Upshaw, was sentenced to 3 years for her involvement in the escape. This video highlights the inherent dangers and life-threatening situations that construction workers can face. The incident captured in the video was incredibly frightening, and its widespread circulation on social media prompted an investigation by Toronto's Ministry of Labor to address the safety concerns involved. The video, captured by a group of individuals on a balcony, showcases a horrifying incident that left them deeply shaken. It depicts a construction worker desperately clinging to a rope and facing the imminent danger of falling several stories to the concrete below. The worker's grip was so tight that he even dropped his radio, hindering his ability to communicate effectively with his fellow crew members. The gravity of the situation was intensified by the worker's precarious position and the challenges he faced in maintaining his safety. Fortunately, The construction worker managed to survive this harrowing ordeal, albeit with some injuries to his hand. Considering the severity of the situation, it is indeed a miracle to witness such a positive outcome. The fact that he escaped with his life is a testament to his resilience and perhaps a reminder of the importance of safety measures in hazardous work environments. In this short video published on YouTube, we can see a group of construction workers taking a well-deserved break to recharge themselves before continuing their work. However, they were met with an unexpected event. 3 construction workers are taking a break on the side of the road when they notice a young woman being harassed by 2 suspicious men. The workers immediately intervene, confronting the men without hesitation to ensure the woman's safety. Fortunately, the intervention of the construction workers seems to have scared off the 2 men, as they are seen running away from the scene, leaving the woman unharmed. Here's Damien Bendel, the night he committed a murder. Bendel immediately made the call and confessed. Listen to this.
I need the police and the ambulance now because I've killed 4 people.
Okay, just hold the line. Sorry about that.
When the police arrive, he appears composed and explains to them that he has no knowledge of what happened. He also mentions that he has stabbed himself twice with a bread knife.
Right, do you just want them to do your coat? Have you armed yourself? Yeah. You have? Have you stabbed yourself? I can see blood on your hands.
Anywhere else? Just my chest, 4 inches in with a bread knife. Can we have a look? Yeah, and 1 on the stomach. I bled quite.
Alright, do you want to take... Yes.
Can we go down
No, just stay there, stay there.
I just don't want to be in front of everyone.
Alright, just round the corner. Alright, stand here. Stay here.
Right,
so
we're told, yeah, know what's going to happen to you now. Well, I know what's going to happen. We just thought prison. Why, have you done something to anyone else? Yeah. What have you done? He's got some stab wounds to his chest. They're not oozing blood, but he's saying that his family are inside and that he believes he has murdered them. Are you alright for me to go in?
According to Bendel, he felt like an outsider looking in as he committed this heinous crime. Armed with a clay hammer, he went around the house and struck members of his family in the back of their heads. His pregnant partner, Terry Harris, was the first victim, followed by Terry's young ones from a previous relationship, John Bennett and Lacey Bennett. He also killed Connie Yent, who was Lacey's friend and present in their home at the time. The police read Bendel his rights and promptly arrested him. The most chilling part of this whole ordeal is that the brutal murders could have been avoided if law enforcement had fulfilled their duties towards Terry and her young ones. Bendel had a history of criminal behavior, violence, and sexual deviance. Yet he was only given a suspended sentence and curfew for a previous arson conviction. This lack of proper assessment and consideration of his dangerous tendencies meant that Terry, who was pregnant at the time, and her children were left vulnerable and unprotected in the same home with him. The tragedy could have been prevented if proper measures had been taken to ensure their safety. This gruesome tale began 4 years ago in Pakistan, where tragedy unfolded due to a perceived offense. Samaya Begum, a courageous student at Leeds University, dared to defy her family's wishes by refusing to marry her cousin, whom they had chosen for her when she was only 16. In a society where child marriage is not uncommon, Samaya chose a different path, determined to live life on her own terms. To protect her from the intrusive traditions of her immediate family, the law granted Samaya a forced marriage protection order, ensuring that she would not be coerced into an unwanted marriage. She left her father's house and sought refuge with her mother and her uncle, Mohaved Teruz Khan. However, danger lurked not in her father's home, but in her mother's, where her resentful uncle resided. Displeased with Samaya's choices and unwilling to accept her defiance of family and tradition, Khan harbored a deep anger. 4 years later, driven by vengeance, he brutally took her life. After committing the heinous act, the murderer's next move was to conceal the body. Seemingly familiar with the process, he chose what appeared to be a familiar location, gaining access with some difficulty, his hands protected by leather gloves. One can't help but wonder if this facility had served a similar purpose in the past. With calculated precision, he parked the car, ensuring the passenger side door aligned perfectly with the entrance to his hidden place. His actions displayed a practiced ease, as if he had performed such acts before, sending a chilling message that this was not his first encounter with such darkness. Watch as he maneuvers with expertise. Concealing his sinister activities from prying eyes in broad daylight, the way he carries out his plan suggests a familiarity born from experience, leaving observers disturbed by the realization that this is not an isolated incident. Confessions are a crucial aspect of compliance with the police, and in this case, Brian Mason's confession takes an unexpected turn. As he approaches an officer at the Miamisburg Police Department holding a water bottle, the first words he speaks are shocking and surprising.
I'm here to turn myself in.
Okay, what's going on?
I had an accident last night.
Okay.
I was showing an old friend of mine how to use this gun that she was needing, that she asked for, and it went off and shot her in the chest.
Okay.
And I've been running around scared all day.
Where is this at?
Up on Miami-Montgomery County Line Road.
Okay. You just want to set your water right there?
The officer's reaction to Brian Mason's confession was one of surprise, and it even prompted a chuckle from the officer at certain points.
Put yourself up there. You got any weapons on you right now?
No.
Okay, just put your hands behind your back for me.
Okay.
I'm just going to detain you right now based off what you're telling me.
Right. I understand.
If you want to talk to me, I'll still talk to you. Okay?
Right.
Does this person need assistance or help, or?
You have 2 sets of cuffs?
I can put 2 sets on you in a second, okay? Does this person need help right now, or are they deceased, or what?
They're deceased.
Does anybody else know about this?
As a civilian, hearing Brian Mason's words confessing that the victim, Michelle Elliott, is dead would likely shock you, and your eyes may widen in disbelief. It is important to note that this is not a prank or a joke, but a serious confession made by Brian Mason.
Officer Small?
All right, let's have a seat in my car for 2 seconds and I'll switch the cuffs on you, okay?
Sure.
Just give me 1 second, okay?
Okay.
I'm on. This guy walks up, he's like, turn my body cam on, get out of the car, I walk up, he's like, what's going on? He's like, the lobby's closed. I'm like, okay, what's going on? He said, hey, I'm just here to turn myself in. I said, for what? He said, accidentally shot and killed someone last night. So he says that he was on County Line Road, doesn't know the exact address, said he was shown a friend a gun, and it went off and shot her in the chest, and she's deceased.
Alright, well, we're gonna need to try to find out where this happened.
I know, so I'm gonna try to keep talking to him. So. Okay. if you want to hop out, just put the other pair of cuffs on you, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
these are.
I don't think that you're causing any problems. Just.
As details emerge, the officer continues to question Mason about various aspects, including the victim's name, her current status, and the location of the murder weapon. Surprisingly, Mason answers these questions calmly, providing the information requested by the officer.
Well, let me ask you this. Has this been reported to law enforcement at all?
No, this is it. I'm walking in because I know this is the right thing to do, but
Where do you live at?
I've been living out of my truck and motel rooms since I quit my trucking job.
I'm just trying to figure out why you came to this police department. You're
Oh.
just driving around? Or...
Yeah, I've been all over the place.
Okay.
Where did this happen?
Up on the Miami-Montgomery County Line Road.
Do you have an address?
I don't know her house number.
What's her name?
I think it's in the 9000 series. Okay. Her name is Michelle Elliott.
What's her age, approximately?
57. Same age as me. I've known her for 50 years.
Is this her address? But maybe just she lives in the 9000 block Miami County Line Road. And her name's Michelle Elliott. What kind of cars are in the driveway?
Yeah, none.
There's none. What does the house look like? If you could describe it to me so I could describe it to somebody else.
3-bedroom brick ranch.
Like what color is the garage door?
White.
I pulled up Google Maps or something. Would you be able to show me the house? Let's go do that.
In the basement.
Do you mind? Will you come downstairs to the interview room with us?
But what really transpired? According to Mason, he and Elliot were friends from their high school days. Mason claimed that Elliot had expressed fear and a need for self-defense. In response, Mason went to her house with his own weapon, intending to show her how to use a pistol. However, during the demonstration, the gun accidentally discharged, fatally striking Elliot in the chest. The officer proceeds to verify Mason's story, as one of the officers can be heard making a call to find Michelle Elliott in the system.
Can you try to find a Michelle Elliott? Both common spelling in Leeds, and her age is around 57, and she lives in the 9000 block of County Line Road. I'm not sure if that's in Montgomery County or if that's in Miami County.
Mason and Elliot were indeed acquainted, as evidenced by Mason's attempt to recall her birthday, albeit inaccurately.
Okay. Do you know about what month she was born in?
November, I think. I'm not sure.
Do you know about what year?
Oh, yeah. 66.
Miami's birth 311. Can you try November 1st, 1966 on that Michelle Elliott?
Yeah, sorry, we never exchanged cards and stuff like that.
So you don't live on Soldier's Home anymore?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Listen as he discusses his personal background and provides insights into his relationship with her.
I was living in my truck, and then after my health started failing, and I couldn't keep a med card because my blood pressure was too high. And I quit and took my savings and just been staying in rooms in my truck.
Were you staying at that house with her?
No.
Was she letting you stay there? Or?
No, well, she offered, but because of her debilitating disease, I couldn't. It was too tough to be around her. It was too tough to be around her when she was drunk and high. And I don't drink and I don't take pills. So that's what we argued about all the time. You know, if it wasn't, if I ignored it, it was fine. But I had to put up with the way she acts when she was under the influence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In this video, posted by Inside Edition on June 30th of 2021, CCTV footage captures a woman running outside of a gas station, being chased by a scary man, This is going to piss off a lot of you, as it did me, but the woman approached the man, pleading for his help. But rather than help her, or at least leaving her alone, he picked her up and started to walk away with her. The news reporter stated that the woman hid under a truck, but the video doesn't show that. Witnesses stated that the woman screamed for help and kept kicking him, trying to get free. This nutcase was 22-year-old Carl Gravett. Gravett was in a relationship with the woman and was believed to be driving in a stolen vehicle. Police were able to easily identify Gravett thanks to his distinctive tattoos.
Investigators identified Gravett as their suspect after matching his tattoos in a database.
Gravett stated the woman was afraid he'd assault her because he had in the past. Gravett was arrested for kidnapping, assault, and other charges, and is being held without bail. Willie Suarez Maceo, a former real estate agent, faced charges of 2 first-degree murders, transforming him into a serial killer. Surveillance cameras from a local business captured footage of the man walking towards the crime scene, providing a clear image of the suspect. However, the case went cold for a significant period of time, as there were no apparent connections between the murders. It is unclear whether the suspect specifically targeted the unhoused residents in Miami, or if there were other motives behind the crimes. However, one could argue that the presence of unhoused residents might have been perceived as detrimental to business in the area, potentially influencing the suspect's action. The events unfolded on September 2nd of 2014, and although much remains unknown about the perpetrators and victims of these fatal incidents, we can at least provide you with the names of those hunted down like prey: Daniel Cervantes and Oscar Rodriguez. While one narrowly escaped the clutches of death, the other one was not as fortunate. As you witness the car approach the neighborhood for the first time, it isn't yet the fateful day of love's demise. They pass by slowly, meticulously noting every detail. A second trip follows with the same vehicle, same speed, and an intent to capture everything necessary. This second journey seems to serve as a final reconnaissance mission. The car returns for a third time, this time from the opposite direction, parking at a specific location. The 2 occupants step out and come into view, walking on foot. The lead figure wears a sky blue hoodie and swiftly wipes away any potential fingerprints. Opening the gate, he is closely followed by his partner, who discreetly conceals his hands in his loose clothing. Now, a sense of urgency sets in, evident as we observe the lead figure running ahead and disappearing around the corner. Meanwhile, his partner stands guard at the gate. Moments later, they both dash out through the same entrance they entered, but this time, the man in the blue hoodie brandishes a gun in his left hand. Natural disasters can indeed be incredibly devastating, and the footage captured during such events can be both horrifying and heart-wrenching. This particular video showcases the destructive power of an EF4 tornado and the ensuing chaos and destruction it brings. It serves as a stark reminder of the immense impact these disasters have on people's lives as homes, cars, and entire towns are devastated. The footage highlights the harrowing experience of those caught in the midst of tornadoes and other similar calamities. The video captures the stark contrast between the serene, affluent neighborhood with well-maintained houses and lush greenery, and the impending threat of the approaching tornado. The juxtaposition emphasizes the sudden and drastic transformation that can occur during a natural disaster. In just a matter of moments, the calm and beauty of the surroundings are shattered by the destructive force of the tornado, leaving devastation in its wake. The video captures the intense moment as the tornado passes directly over the house, causing destruction outside. The screen goes black, but the audio captures the terrifying sound of the tornado. The scene portrays the fear and the chaos experienced by the individuals as they seek comfort and safety amidst the devastation.
Holy shit. Holy moly. Alright. Holy shit. Alright, I gotta go. I'm coming, honey. Shit, where you at, hon? God damn, it's bad. Alright, stay down, honey. Oh, shit, Josie. Uh-oh. We're gonna get some shit here, honey.
Is this gonna save us?
I hope so, buddy. Oh my God! Okay, honey. Holy shit! Stay in. Oh man! Shit!
Don't go out there.
No, not yet.
Don't.
Oh.
Stay here.
Oh my God, Josie. Wow. Holy moly. Oh my God. Our house is freaking destroyed, Josie. Oh my God. Where's Autumn? Oh, I've never seen anything like it. I don't know. Let's go. We gotta see if anybody else's house is up. Josie, come on. Hang on a second. Oh, Jesus H. I'm in shock. I can't believe this happened. Oh my God, Josie. The neighbors' houses are gone.
The man's apprehension is palpable as he musters the courage to step outside and assess the damage caused by the tornado.
Come on, Josie, let's get out of here. The tornado's passed. We gotta get out of here and get to... Josie, come on now. I know it's scary. Come on now. And watch the nails. That's fine.
As he captures another shot from the outside, the man is greeted with a devastating sight of complete destruction, with debris and rubble stretching as far as the eye can see.
Josie! Holy shit! Josie, we gotta get out of here outside where it's safe, where the structure falls. That's all right. The car right there. Right there.
Oh my God.
All right, let's go. We gotta get to the neighbors.
In a matter of minutes, the tranquil scene transformed into utter devastation, showcasing the immense power of Mother Nature. The once vibrant trees and houses that stood in the background were now obliterated, serving as a stark reminder that nature can overpower even the most fortified structures.